Is millionaire investor GaryVee bullish on YuGiOh? Welcome to the Solemn YuGiOh channel where we discuss everything collecting and investing in YuGiOh. Now, if you don't know GaryVee, otherwise known as Gary Vaynerchuk, he is an entrepreneur, public speaker, and investor, CEO and founder of VaynerMedia. He's extremely well known on Instagram, Twitter, basically all over the place for his advice on finances and marketing and self-help and essentially that niche. And if you go into Logan Paul's video about getting into Pokemon, it's literally Gary who told him, hey, get into Pokemon. So you should already see, maybe this guy has some influence. Now, full disclosure, I am a GaryVee fan. I've been following him for 4 years and his advice has helped me. So maybe I am biased. But with that out of the way, over the past months, Gary has been super hyped about cards. Now be aware, he was always a cards guy. He sold sports cards back in whenever he was super young, though he would argue he still is, and I kind of agree. He just got extra loud about it about 2 or 3 years ago, and then extra loud about it the past few months. He kind of helped initiate this rush even more. When COVID turned its ugly head, collectibles started going up, but then he, I want to say, added a level of power to it. So be aware, he's a powerful guy. When he spoke about Pokemon, he also dropped a few breadcrumbs on Magic and YuGiOh. I want to say mostly YuGiOh because he showed off like one photo of him taking his old Magic cards from the attic or something, but I didn't see anything beyond that. But he did talk about YuGiOh a few times. After that, however, it became Pokemon, Sports. I assume he's just more into that than the others, which is fine. However, lately, he's been a bit more quiet on the Pokemon and a bit more loud on the YuGiOh, I want to say. First, he shared this article about the top 10 most expensive YuGiOh cards or something like that. The article was from a reputable brand, I want to say, because I do follow their podcast, but some prices were a bit whack. Some cards they definitely didn't catch that really should have been in that list. You know, that was interesting. It was like, him sharing an article on YuGiOh expensive cards? Okay, maybe it's a one-off. A bit later he goes, hey, look at these YuGiOh video games. That's even more specific. Odd, but okay, whatever. Cool, I enjoy it. Gary's cool, YuGiOh's cool. Those together would be cool. But then a few days ago, suddenly he drops this video of underrated, overrated. And there he says, I'll just show you.
YuGiOh cards.
YuGiOh cards are underrated. In 15 years, a lot of 27-year-olds are going to have a lot more money, and YuGiOh cards are going to be wildly underpriced today compared to what they will be in 15 years.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Now, I will say, he seems to talk about 15-year-olds that will be 27-year-olds. I think it's important to realize that a lot of people within YuGiOh are already in that age range. But with that being said, it is true that YuGiOh is younger than Pokemon and Magic. So I found this interesting. This was such a specific thing to talk about. And he said it was underrated. And again, I agree. This channel is about why, so obviously I agree. But it's interesting to me how he right now talks about it. Now, I'm not sure if he's buying anything. I don't know his personal life. He doesn't really get loud about the specific things he buys all the time. He did do some live streams about the sports cards he bought like a few months ago, but beyond that I haven't really seen any specifics anymore. However, it would be very interesting if he's buying, and I'm really wondering if he is. You know, we're entering this weird cool-off in Pokemon for a while now, and that was to be expected. You can't have hype upon hype forever. It'll cool off a bit, retrace a bit, and over time maybe go up again. Very likely in my opinion. But YuGiOh hasn't seen any of these retraces. You know, we haven't seen the same level of hype, but we have seen steady, solid growth. I would argue better than steady, but in comparison to Pokemon, just steady. But we haven't seen this dip, this retrace. I still believe that maybe it'll come, but so far it hasn't. And it's just fascinating to me that right now he mentions that. Maybe I'm just reading too deep into it, but this is a guy with millions of followers on various platforms. And so when a guy with this amount of power, who in my opinion added fuel to the Pokemon fire, could now start adding subtle fuel to YuGiOh, that's interesting to me. We already had Road to Shaw. God, I'm gonna mispronounce that name. That's why I called him WTS in another video. Also opening YuGiOh. Penguin, Z, Moist, Critical, whatever you wanna call him. Also opening YuGiOh for a long time already. Farfa covered that, so I didn't wanna cover it on the channel. But so we're still seeing that stuff. We're seeing those movements that we saw in Pokemon on a slightly smaller scale, but without a retrace so far. So I'm just wondering if we're gonna start seeing people, maybe influenced by Gary, or maybe not, getting even more loud about it in that content creator space? Or is that whole collectible craze starting to wane? I imagine the media is gonna get tired of covering yet another card sale every other week. But if they do, okay, cool. That just feels a little bit dangerous as well. But so yeah, I'm just wondering, will we see some crazy big deals in the near future where maybe he stimulated someone to do so, or maybe we don't? I'm just watching very, very closely because that could have impact. Now, as for his statement, it is underrated. I agree. I'm actually gonna make an entire video on why I believe a lot of these cards are undervalued as hell. But the TLDR is essentially, do you know how hard it is to pull good old Yu-Gi-Oh cards? It is, phew. If you look at a Pokemon box and you open that, wow, you get a great card once every 3 packs. Maybe not great, but really good. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you're happy with 2 good hits in 1 box. So that's something to think about. Maybe, just maybe, these cards are very undervalued and are much harder to pull than people give it credit for. But I'll get more specific on that in a future video. Be sure to like and subscribe for that. That is all. Ciao.